this week, we'll obviously ease you in gently because I also need to ease myself in gently, but we're going to pay attention to the back and the back of the body quite a bit in this class, because if you're anything like me, you're spending a lot of time like that and not doing any back exercises whatsoever. So we're going to start with our usual though, to remind ourselves of the setup and everything. So if we start with feet parallel, hip width apart, we're just going to find that core engagement, if it's still there somewhere. We're just going to rock forwards over the balls of the feet and then back over the heels. Keeping the knees nice and soft, just transferring that weight across the foot and just noticing that slight engagement of the core, which we're going to maintain. Just do a couple more. So find that core engagement. We're going to bring it back to center to find our neutral pelvis. So just popping hands on the hips, knees nice and soft. And we're just going to really tuck that tailbone between the legs, try and get a nice little stretch into that lower back. And then we're going to arch forward, really stick that bottom out behind. So just pelvic rolls there, squeezing that tailbone between the legs. A couple more of those. Finally, we're just going to find neutral. So just tucking that tailbone slightly between the legs in the middle of those two movements. And we're also going to draw up through the pelvic floor as well. So we feel like we've got a nice tight corset on. Just slide the hands down the side of the thighs, crown of the head towards the ceiling. So growing nice and tall. And we're going to start with some arm circles. Take a nice inhale breath as the arms come forward. Really big arm circles. Keep that core engaged. Try not to arch backwards. Just mobilizing through the shoulders. So nice inhale breath as we reach up. And exhale as we come down. Let's go for a couple more of those. Nice big circles, as big as we can make them. Inhaling as the arms come up. Exhaling as the arms come down. And then I'm just going to turn around so you can see. Right hand, we're going to grab hold of the left arm behind the back just for a nice neck stretch. So we're going to anchor that shoulder down, that left shoulder, and then just reach the top of the left ear up towards the ceiling, feeling that length into the left side of the neck. And then bringing the head back to center again. We're going to switch over. So left hand, I can't work out my right and left here. So left hand grabs right arm, anchor that shoulder down, and just reach the top of the right ear up towards the ceiling, feeling the length into the right side of the neck. Here's Jill. Sorry, letting her in. And then bring the head back to center. We're then going to take it into some back extension work. So we're going to bring the hands to a double salute position to the sides of the head. We're going to soften through the knees, quite a bend into the knees, keeping the spine nice and long. We're going to hinge from the hips, coming down almost into a tabletop position, so you feel that nice stretch right into the belly of the hamstring. Really stick that bottom out behind and then bring it back to center. Exhale, coming up and then bringing it back down, bending through the knees, really stick that bottom out behind. Think length from the crown of the head down to the tailbone, get that lovely stretch into the hamstrings, and then bring it back to center. Let's go for two more of those. Coming down as far as those hamstrings will allow, almost a tabletop position if we can, and then bring it back. And the last one, we're going to stay down on this one, working that upper back and shoulders, so keeping that spine lengthened. We don't want to see any hunching or crouching. And then we're going to bring the arms into a dive position and then back down into our double salute position. So keeping the spine as long as we can and then back to that double salute. So let's go for three more of those. Reach those arms forward, lovely. Bring the hands back. Last two. Still getting that nice stretch into the back of the legs. Might feel it in the calf. Working those spine muscles. And then bring it back to that double salute position. We're going to bring it back up to center. Bring those hips forward. Bring the arms down to the side of the body. We're then going to take it down into a nice roll down, which should feel really nice after that. So take a nice deep inhale breath to prepare as we bring the chin towards the chest. Start to exhale the breath as we roll the spine down. Peeling the spine away from that imaginary brick wall, nice and slowly. And again, going down as far as those hamstrings will allow, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the arms, relaxing the neck. Just let everything hang. Relax the jaw as well. Take a nice deep inhale breath here, and then exhale, switch that core back on, lift up through that pelvic floor. We're going to bring the pelvis round first, and then start to restack the spine. Coming back up from our roll down at the top. We're going to do a big shoulder reset to go back down 2 more times. Inhale breath, chin starts to dip towards the chest as we start to exhale. Peeling the spine away from that wall, keeping the knees nice and soft. Just let the arms dangle. Let everything feel nice and heavy. Hopefully you might go a little bit further on this one. Making sure those neck muscles are switched off. Give a little nod of the head, yes. A little shake of the head, no. Inhale breath again. Start to peel the tummy away from the thighs as we start to turn the pelvis back up towards into our neutral. Rolling the spine back up. Reaching the top. Nice big shoulder roll. Shoulders down and back. That feels nice. Last one. Take an inhale breath. Chin comes towards the chest as we start to exhale the breath down. Letting those arms hang. Let the head feel heavy. Let the arms feel heavy. Take a nice inhale breath here. And then again on the exhale, leading with the pelvis first. Start to tuck that tailbone into between the legs. Engaging through the core, tummy button towards the spine. As we roll back up and roll back out. Nice big shoulder roll at the top. Well done. We're just going to take it into a side bend stretch now. So we're just going to grab hold of the left wrist, arms in the air, feet hip width apart, and just a gentle pull of that left arm. We're going to bring the body into a side bend stretch, just creating some length into the left side of the body. Think length, the distance between that bottom rib and hip. Take a nice inhale breath here. As we exhale, we're coming back to center. And then we're going to grab hold of the other wrist. I don't know whether you can see my hands there. And take it down over to the other side. And then on that exhale breath, coming back to center and relaxing the arms down to the side. We're then going to come down onto our mats, but we'll roll down and walk out like we always do. Don't like just getting down. I'm just going to move my camera as well. So arms down by the side of the body. Take a nice deep inhale breath as we exhale. Dip the chin towards the chest, sliding the hands down the thigh, rolling the spine down, keeping the knees nice and soft. When we reach the floor with the hands, if we're not quite at the floor, pop that bend into the knee so we can bring the palms of the hands down onto the mat as we walk out into our plank, waking everything up in our plank hold. So wrists underneath shoulders, bottom level with the body, and we're going to hold it here for 4 nice deep breaths. So push the floor away with the hands, in through the nose, big deep breaths out through the mouth. Really empty the lungs on that exhale breath. If it's too much, come down onto 3/4 plank onto the knees. And last one, bringing the knees gently down to the mat if they're not already down. Have a little sit back into the heels, taking it into our child's pose stretch. Really sit that tailbone back towards the heels and take some deep breaths into that stretch. Really try to widen out across the rib cage. And then we're going to come into seated. So we're just going to come towards the front of the mat, make our way down to the floor. So sat nice and tall on the sit bone. So really sat on top of the sit bones, crown of the head towards the ceiling, feet hip width apart. We're going to bring the arms out in front, shoulders down and back. So the arms are level with the shoulders. Just going to do a couple of little half roll downs. So take an inhale breath here. As we exhale, we're going to lead with the pelvis, so rolling onto the back of the sit bones, trying to get the back of the pelvis and the back of the trousers as close towards the floor as possible. Take a nice inhale breath here. And then we're going to exhale, coming back, lengthening through the spine as we get to the top of that, on the top of the sit bones. Inhale, breath again. Exhale, start to roll back onto the pelvis. Waistband of the trousers as close to the floor as we can. Inhale, breath here. And then exhale, coming back onto the top of those sit bones. Crown of the head towards the ceiling. Last one, we're going to roll all the way down, but as slowly and as controlled as we can. Almost try and count each vertebrae as we roll down onto the floor. So one vertebrae at a time. Try to keep those heels down on the floor as well. Control, control, control. Really articulating through the spine. Lovely. When we reach the bottom, bring those arms behind the head. Lengthen out through the legs and take the pushing up into the spine, really lengthen through those abdominals. Imagine somebody's pulling the hands and feet in opposite directions. Nice deep breaths there as well, really stretch out across the rib cage. And then we're going to bring the arms down to the side of the body. We're going to bring the feet up towards the bottom, so the heels are directly underneath the knees. I want you to imagine you've got a tennis ball in between the knees, and we're doing a gentle grip on that tennis ball. We're just going to take it into a couple of shoulder bridges. So take an inhale breath. As we exhale, we're going to imprint the spine first before we start to peel the spine up, away from the floor, one vertebrae at a time. So really pushing those hips up towards the ceiling, tucking that tailbone between the legs at the same time, gripping the tennis ball at the same time. So really squeezing into that midline. Take an inhale breath. Think about articulating back down to the mat with the spine. So again, one vertebrae at a time. We're looking for as much movement in the spine as possible. So rolling it back down. When the tailbone touches the floor, inhale breath, and then exhale again. Gentle squeeze on that tennis ball as we start to peel the spine away from the floor. Squeezing the hips up towards the ceiling. Take an inhale breath here. And then exhale it all back down again. So you should really feel this in the glutes and the hamstrings, back of the body. Let's go for a couple more. Inhale breath. Exhale, just use your own breath, obviously, but in your own time, I mean. Squeeze those hips up towards the ceiling. Inhale breath and exhale it back down again. On this next one, we'll all meet up in bridge and we'll stay there. So inhale breath, exhale imprint, and then peel that spine away from the floor. Squeeze those hips up towards the ceiling. Tuck that tailbone under. We're then going to bring the arms overhead. And I want you to imagine somebody's pulling the hands away from you. So feel those shoulder blades up round the ears. We're going to take an inhale breath here. A little bit harder to articulate through the spine in this position. We're just going to slowly start to try and pop one vertebrae at a time back down onto the mat, lengthening down onto the mat. That looks really nice. Lovely, Abby. Inhale breath. Let's go back up again, keeping those arms behind the head. So pelvic tilt, heel up. Squeeze those hips up towards the ceiling. Inhale breath here. Squeeze that tennis ball between the knees and slowly roll back down again. On this next one, we're going to stay up in bridge. So take an inhale breath, exhale, pelvic tilt, find that nice slope position. So the knee down to the shoulder, squeezing those glutes nice and hard to lift those hips up. We're then going to release the glutes slightly. So to release the glutes, you'll notice those hips dip slightly and then squeeze those hips back up again. Squeezing a little bit harder each time. Nice big glute activation there. We're going to go for 4 more. Squeeze. Squeezing that tennis ball. 3, 2, and then 1. Squeezing those hips up nice and high. Take an inhale breath, and again, just gently start to place the spine down, 1 vertebrae at a time. Well done. We're then going to bring the arms out to the side. Let's shuffle forward actually, because I can't do that. So we're going to bring the arms out level with the shoulders. Keep the shoulders open, so palms facing up towards the ceiling. I want you to zip the knees together and the ankles together. And we're just going to work a nice little spine twist here. So we're just going to inhale, roll the knees over to one side, keeping that upper body anchored into the floor. So keeping those shoulder blades down, you should feel a nice stretch across the body there. And then on that exhale breath, we're going to bring the knees through the center with control. So really using the abdominals for that. And then inhaling it down to the other side. So keep the ankle level. Exhale, coming back up and through. So just gently waking up those obliques. So if you want to make this a little bit harder, we're going to bring the legs up into tabletop position. Spine twist in tabletop. So zipping the knees and feet together. We're going to inhale as we roll down, just making sure we've still got that connection with the shoulder blades and the floor. So the only thing that's rotating is the spine. Just gently bringing those legs through. Let's go for 2 more to each side, making sure the 90-degree angle on the hip and the knees. So the knees aren't too close to the chest. That looks perfect. And the last ones. And last one, inhaling down and exhaling back to center. Nice, well done. Bringing the feet down one at a time. We're then just going to start with a little bit of ab prep. So we're going to bring the hands behind the head just to help support the weight of the head here and work the abdominals. So the pelvis needs to be neutral, so the hip bones and the pubic bone are on the same level. If you have that glass of water within that triangle, the water would remain in the glass. So what I want you to do here is take an inhale breath as we start to bring the chin towards the chest. We're going to exhale as we lift the head and shoulders away from the floor, lifting up, and then exhale as we come back down. So take that little inhale breath at the top. Inhale, prepare. Exhale as we come up, taking the gaze in between the legs. Imagine you've got that tennis ball still between the knees. Inhale, breath here. And then exhale as we come back down. Let's keep it going. Exhale it up. Inhale, we hold. Exhale, we bring it back down. I'm going to make it a little bit harder. Exhale as we come up. On that inhale breath, see if we can lift a little bit higher. And then exhale it back down. Let's keep it going. Exhaling up. Knees stay nice and steady. Inhale a little bit higher, keeping that glass of water from spilling out of that glass, and then lowering back down. Just waking up the abdominals. Inhale, come up a little bit higher, and then slowly release back down. We're going to stay up on this next one. So exhale, breath coming up. Inhale, see if we can come up a little bit higher. We're now going to work some rotation into this exercise. So I want you to take the gaze past the left knee. So coming round, rotating through the spine, keeping the pelvis nice and still, reaching the right hand towards the outside of the left knee. Bring it back to center. Take an inhale breath, exhale it through the other side and reach. Keeping those knees nice and still. Imagine you've got a glass of water on each knee as well. So the only movement is coming from the upper body. If this is a little bit too much, as we come back to center, we can bring the head and shoulders all the way down to the floor. If not, we're going to stay high in the center. So reach, try to reach beyond that knee. Inhale it back to center. Exhale as we reach. Let's go for 2 more to each side. This has certainly woken up my abdominals. Back to center. And last ones. Reach. And last one. We're going to reach. I think I've said that's the last one about 5 times now. It feels like that. Bring it back to center and just gently lower the head and shoulders back down onto the floor. Well done. We're going to then do level 1 scissors. So to measure that distance between the rib and the hip. In fact, if you put your forefinger on your hip, thumb on that bottom rib, we want to not increase that distance as we bring the leg up into tabletop position. So now arching from the spine. We're going to then bring that second leg up to tabletop position. So we're going to work low level today just to get that technique right. And then we're just going to do some toe taps. So we're going to come down with the right toe tap and then back up. Down with the left toe tap, making sure we maintain that neutral spine. So if you put your hands on the tummy, you should feel tension in the abdominals all the time, keeping that spine in neutral. If you're struggling with that neutral spine, imprint. If you're feeling any tension in the lower back, pop the spine into an imprint position. That looks really good. Let's go for 2 more to each side. Keeping that 90-degree bend in the knee. And last one. Bring the legs back to tabletop position. Bring the feet back down, one at a time. Let's have a little release stretch with a full body stretch. So just lift, bringing the arms behind the head, lengthening the feet away. Imagine somebody's pulling you in opposite directions. And then just really push up into the spine there. Get that nice length into the abdominals. Not quite finished with abs yet. We're going to bring the arms back down to the side. Bring the feet back onto the floor. And then we're going to come back up into our ab prep position. So bringing the hands to the behind the head. We're going to take an inhale breath as we exhale. Chin comes towards the chest. We're then going to reach the arms forward, grab hold behind the thighs, come up a little bit higher. We're going to maintain this high position if we can, and then bring the arms beside the ears. So reach the arms above the head, and then we're going to bring the arms down, pushing down with the palms of the hands. Bring the arms back behind to the sides of the ears and release back down to the floor. So working shoulders as well. Inhale, breath. Exhale, chin comes towards the chest. Press those arms down into that 100 position. Then bring the arms up, staying lifted with the upper body and lowering back down. Inhale, breath. Exhale, lifting up. Lift those shoulder blades away. See if we can come up a little bit higher. Staying high, we're bringing the arms overhead. When the arms are beside the ears, we release back down to the floor with control. So lifting up, pressing down. Arms come beside the ears. When the arms are beside the ears, we release back down to the floor. All the time, pelvis is staying in neutral. Pelvis is nice and quiet. Knees are nice and still. Arms come behind and release back down. Let's go for 3 more. Press. Reaching up, stay lifted. And then release back down. Last 2. Lift the arms high. That's it. And back down again. And last. Shoulder blades peel away from the floor. Press down with those arms. bring the arms back by the sides of the ears and release it back down to the mat. Well done. Next exercise. What did I have in store? Oh yeah. So just bring the knees up towards the chest. Hug the knees in towards the chest. And we're just going to have a little roll with the back. And then if we can, we're going to roll it up into seated. If not, just come up into seated. We're going to do a little bit of rolling now. So sat towards the front of the floor. We're going to lift the feet away from the mat, grabbing hold of the top of the ankle. You can pop the toes down there for a bit of balance if you like. So staying in this ball position, we're going to take an inhale breath as we roll back to the shoulders. Exhale it back to seated. So it's an inhale breath rolling back. Exhale as we come back up. So let's go for 5 more. Inhale, exhale. So really maintaining that nice tight ball shape. That looks really nice. Lovely. Perfect. Last one. And back to seated. Well done. Looks really good. I love that exercise. So now we're going to stay seated. We're going to bring the legs out in front, sort of mat width apart, and work some spine stretching in this position. Most important thing here is to be able to have that lengthened spine. If you struggle with that lengthened spine with the legs out straight, pop a little bend into the knee just to make sure we're keeping nice and lifted and extended through the spine. So we're going to bring the arms out in front, level with the shoulders. If you can manage straight legs, great. If you can't, knee bend's fine. Take an inhale breath here. And as we exhale, we're going to reach the arms forward, pulling the waist backwards into that nice spine stretch position. Take an inhale breath here. And as we exhale, we're going to lift up, lengthening through the crown of the head towards the ceiling. So it's an exhale breath, chin towards the chest, reach those arms forwards, work that C curve, and then exhale as we bring it all back, nice and tall. Let's go for a couple more of those. Reach and lift. And then coming down. We're going to stay in this spine stretch position, and if we can, we're going to grab hold of the feet. So if you've got a bend in the knee, that's also fine. I'll show you with a bend in the knee. If you can keep the legs straight, then great. And we're going to do exactly the same thing again. So we've got a nice C curve at the moment. I want you to bring that chest through and really lengthen through the spine, crown of the head towards the ceiling, and then release it back down. So really working the back muscles as we lift through, but keeping a hold of the feet or the lower part of the legs. We've got a nice closed stretch, pushing against that stretch as we try to lengthen out through the spine. Let's go for 2 more. And lift. Really bring that chest through, crown of the head towards the ceiling. And last one. You really feel the back working. And then we're going to bring the hands away from the feet or the legs and then hinge back up to upright. We're going to go straight into the saw now. So I'll just face the front. So you can keep that bend in the knee if you prefer, it keeps you a bit more upright. If not, we're going to straighten out through the legs. We're going to bring the arms out parallel with the legs. Inhale breath, keeping both sit bones anchored. We're going to rotate and reach for 3. And then bring it back to center. Inhale breath, really lengthen in the center. 3 pulses, 2 and 1, and bring it back. Both sit bones stay firmly into the ground. Looks good. Nice, Anna. Keep nice and tall in the center. So no C curve. When we reach back up, nicely lengthened through the spine. Let's go for 2 more to each side. Yeah. Nice stretch the back of the legs as well. And back. And last ones. And last one. And back to centre. Relax the arms down to the side. Well done. We're then going to come staying in seated, bringing the feet back onto the mat, hip width apart, bringing the hands behind the body. Fingers either want to be pointing away from you or out to the side. We're just going to take it into a reverse bridge. So we're going to open up the front of the body now. So take an inhale breath, pushing the floor away, chest is nice and proud. We're going to push into the feet and lift the hips away from the floor, pushing up towards the ceiling if we can, really work those glutes. And then bring the bottom back down with control, making sure those shoulders don't creep up. So inhale breath, exhale breath coming up, squeeze those hips up towards the ceiling, so say floor. Lovely, nice, Abby, lovely. Perfect, Jill, nice, Anna, lovely, Kina. And let's go again. Push and lower. So notice at the top of the bridge, those hips are nice and level, squeezing through both glutes and lowering back down. Bringing the bottom down with control. We're going to come back up nice and tall. Arms come to the front, level with the shoulders. Inhale, breath, exhale. We're going to slowly place the spine back down onto the floor. So just another glute exercise. We're going back up into our shoulder bridge now. So just step the feet nice and close to the bottom, heels directly underneath the knees, little gentle squeeze on that tennis ball. So take an inhale breath again. We're going to pelvic tilt and come back into our bridge, really working the back of the body tonight. Squeeze those hips up towards the ceiling. Now with that nice level pelvis, we're then going to either level one, heel raise the right heel, just lifting and lowering that right heel without any dip from the right hip. So the left glute is working nice and hard. Level two, we're going to tabletop that right leg, keeping those hips level. So if we had a spirit level across here, that bubble would stay in the center. We're going to go for 4 more on this side. Screaming. No dip in the hip. 2. And last one. 1. Lovely. Bring that foot back down to the floor. Push the weight through that right foot now. We're going to do the same on the other side. So it's either level 1, we heel raise the left heel, keeping those hips level. Level 2, we're coming up to tabletop. So really pushing through that right foot. Tap that left toe and straight back up again. Let's go for 4 more. 2, I've got terrible at counting. And last one. Lifting up. Bring that foot back down. Taking an inhale breath. Exhale. Peel the spine back down to the floor. Well done. Now for a bit of side lying. So coming down onto our side. Make a mental note of which way the legs are facing. So we're going to go with a nice simple clam tonight. So most importantly, making sure those hips are stacked one on top of the other. Imagine we're against a brick wall behind us. The feet and the bottom should be against the brick wall. Cores engaged, so lift that tummy away from the floor. And keeping those hips stacked, we're just going to go for a simple low clam. So nice and slow, nice and controlled, just lifting and lowering this top leg without rolling back on the hip. Exhale as we lift, inhale as we lower. That looks perfect. So no movement from the pelvis, no movement from the upper body. I like to keep my hand on my hip just to make sure I'm not wobbling around. Let's go for 2 more nice low clams. Waking up that glute med on this top side. And last one, bring the knees back together. We're then going to raise that underneath leg, bring the top leg with it. So we're going to do exactly the same thing again, bit of a bigger range of movement. So really opening up through this top hip. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. So what we're trying to do is isolate that muscle on the side of the bottom. That looks good. Perfect, lovely pan. Let's keep it going. Let's go for 2 more. And you know this isn't the end, don't you? Exhale, lift, squeeze. Bring those knees back together again. On this next one, we're going to open up the hip and extend away the leg. So really reach, engage through that quad, bring the feet back together, and then bring the knees back together. So it's an open. Core stays lifted, just checking with the waist that it's not sunk into the floor. Feet and knees. Perfect. Let's go for 5 more of these. 2. 3. And last 2. Open up as much as we can without rolling back. Lift that leg away, engage with that quad, feet and knees. Last one, open, ouch, extend. Ooh. Bring those feet back together and bring those knees back together. Bring the feet down to the floor, give the bum a good rub, punch, whatever it is that you need to do. Now that hurt. And then, staying on our sides, we're going to do a bit of oblique work. We're going to come into, I'm going to give you lots of options here. So we're going to go into a side plank. So we can come from the hand, we can come from the elbow, whichever you find most comfortable. If you've got dodgy wrists, come from the elbow. So we're going to come up into a level 1, actually. We can stay with the hips on the floor if you struggle. Level 2, we're going to lift the hips away from the floor. And then we're going to bring the arm level with his top shoulder. I want to go beyond the shoulder, so we're going to take the gaze back towards that back hand. Inhale, breath. As we exhale, we're going to rotate through, feed the hand through, and then back up to shoulder, and then beyond on that inhale breath. Keep the underneath shoulder here pushed into the floor, so it's not crept up around the ear. We can extend, we can go a little bit harder if you like, extend that top leg and work that rotation through. And then if you're crazy, we can bring that bottom leg behind the top leg into a full side plank. We're going to go for 3 more reps. Inhale, lift beyond that shoulder. Keeping the gaze towards this moving hand, and the last one. Inhale, open. Exhale through. And then bring it back to center. Don't crash down, control down towards the floor. Well done. Coming onto our fronts now. Have I got time? Yeah, we're fine. So we're going to work upper backs now. So we're going to start with the hands down by the sides of the body, palms facing the floor, forehead down onto the floor. I want you to lengthen the bone down into the mat, lifting the core, bringing the tummy button towards the spine. That's what I was trying to say. So now we're going to take an inhale breath. As we exhale, we're going to lift up through the head and shoulders into a nice low lengthened raise. And then we're going to bring the palms of the hand towards the thighs and see if we can lift up a little bit higher. Bringing the hands down towards the knee. Then bringing the palms back down towards the floor and bringing the head and shoulders back down to the mat. So inhale breath, we're coming up. Bring the hands towards the side of the body, reaching down towards the knees, lifting up a little bit higher, and then lowering it all back down, bringing the palms down to the floor. So it's an inhale breath coming up, palms face the body, come up a little bit higher if we can, and then bring them back down to the floor as they come down. So let's go for 2 more. Lift. Really using that at the back and lower. We're going to stay up on this next one. So hands face the body, palms of the hands face the body. We're then going to bring the arms round to the side into that T shape. And then we're going to bring the palms facing forward. So rotating the shoulder, bring the palms back down to the wall facing the floor, and then bring the head and shoulders down. If we can, try and keep the arms off the floor. So coming up, bring those palms forward, bring the palms down, bring the head and shoulders down, but see if we can keep the arms floating away from the floor. If we can't, that's fine, pop the hands down to the floor for a little bit of a rest. So we're keeping the arms lifted if we can. Really working those shoulders. Bring the palms forward as we raise. Palms face down, head and shoulders come down. Arms stay away from the floor if we can. I hope that all makes sense. Nice, that looks perfect. Nice, Jill. And the last one. Coming up, palms face forward, arms stay lengthened. Bring those palms down towards the floor. Bring the hands one at a time underneath the forehead, and then bring those down, forehead onto the arms. Well done. Gosh, I'm tired of my own voice. So bring the feet now to the corners of the mat. We're going to work lower back and glutes again. So then I want you to pop a bend into the right knee, 90-degree bend, left knee, 90-degree bend. We're going to allow the heels to fall in towards each other so they're touching. Pubic bone pressing down into the floor, core and abs are on. We're going to take an inhale breath here, and as we exhale, we're going to lift, pushing the heels up towards the ceiling, bringing the thighs away from the floor. Inhale, come back down. So it's an exhale, lift, inhale, lower. So you should really feel nice and active through those glutes on this one. So we're working the big muscle in the bottom and lower. Lift and lower. If you want to make it a little bit harder, we can lift up through the head and shoulders as well. Squeeze. So we're working the whole of the posterior chain on this one. All of the back of the body is working. Let's go for 3 more. 1, 2, and last one. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. 3. Bring the knees back down to the floor. Bring the head and shoulders down to the floor. Lengthen out through the legs. Bring the feet to the corners of the mat. Hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to push it up onto all fours. Sit back between the heels and take it into a really nice stretchy child's pose. Really lower that upper body down into the floor on that one. Ooh, keep getting cramp in the foot. And then we're going to twizzle around and do side series on the side. So feet opposite direction. We're going to relax the head onto the arm or the hand. Imaginary brick wall behind us, feet and bottom against that brick wall, hips are stacked one on top of the other. So starting with a nice simple clam, keeping the feet together, we're going to just open up the hip and lower, making sure we're not rolling around on the pelvis. Core still switched on. Lovely. Let's go for 2 more. 1. So you might notice have it cross side because the glute was still active when we're working the other side. So we're going to lift that bottom leg, bringing the top leg with it. So this bottom leg, bottom glute, I should say, is working as well. So we should be able to open that hip a little bit higher with that elevation. Have a little check in with the waist. Let's go for 3 more with our extension. 3, 2, and last one, 1. Bring those knees together. So on this next one, we're adding in that extension as we open as high as we can, and then extend. Really reach with the leg, engage through that top quad. Feet come together, knees come together. Reach. So you feel it in that lower glutes as well. That's completely normal. Let's take it for 4 more now. Exhale, open, extend, feet and knees. I don't know whether I've got 3 more left in me. 3, 2, and last one. Open, extend, feet and knees. Bring those feet down, give that bum a good rub or punch, whatever you need to do. Well done. And then we're back into our side plank. So we're coming up onto the elbow or onto the hand, entirely up to you. So level 1, we can keep those hips on the floor if you need to. Level 2, I'm moving down to my elbow, my wrists. We're going to come up, away from the floor with the hips. So really working the oblique on that underside. Bring the arm up, level with the shoulder. We're going to reach back to the corner of the room. Keep the gaze top hand and then exhale as we breathe through. Feeding through. All the time keeping this bottom supporting shoulder away from the ear and sweep it through. If you want to make it a bit harder, extend away that top leg. And if you want to make it a bit harder again, bring that bottom leg behind the top leg into our full side plank. Let's go for 2 more. Lovely, Anna. And last one, lovely Gemma. Bring that arm level with the shoulder now. I can't talk anymore. And then bring the bottom down. Try not to crash down. Well done. Coming onto our fronts. We're going to take it into a plank hold for 4 breaths. So everything should feel nice and awake. So we're going to bring those wrists underneath the shoulders. We're going to come up into our plank for 4 nice deep breaths. So engaging everything in the body here. We're going to take a nice inhale breath and then exhale. If it's too moving down into that 3/4 plank position, keeping that nice active core. So last 3 breaths. And last one. And then if we're not already on the knees, we're going to come down onto the knees for our last back extension exercise. So lowering yourself down nice and gently, keeping the hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to do some cobra and half cobra. So also working the triceps. So just relaxing through the bottom, but slightly pushing the pubic bone down. So there's a bit of engagement in the glutes there. Take an inhale breath as we exhale. We're going to come up with the head and shoulders, use the back for that bit, and then keeping those elbows tucked, we're going to push up into cobra. keeping those shoulders away from the ears and then lowering halfway down. Feeling it in the back of the arms and pushing back up. Exhale as we push. And inhale as we lower. Trying to keep the neck in line with the spine. So also working the upper back still. Also the back of the arms. Let's go for 4 more. Lovely. Nice, Tina. Oh, nice. And last one, tail push. Back of the arms should feel like they're on fire. Then we're going to lower it down nice and gently. We're going to push it up onto the knees. So final push up, engage through the core as we come up, protect that lower back. Widen out through the knees. We're going to take it back between the heels again into our nice wide leg child's pose, but really lower that upper body down into the mat. Stretch out through the arms. Nice deep breaths again. Feel the stretch into the back of the rib cage. And then we're going to come back up onto all fours. So we're going to bring the hands, wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. I'm going to space the front for this one. Just want you to extend the right arm out to the side, level with the shoulder. We're going to thread the needle now, so inhale breath as we exhale. Feeding that hand just behind the left wrist, bend, softening through that left elbow, and just bringing the head and the top of the shoulder down to the floor, and just enjoy that stretch. You'll stay here for a few moments. Nice deep breaths. Really nice stretch into the shoulder. And then we're going to push ourselves back up onto all fours again. Bring the hand underneath the wrist. We're going to bring that left arm out to the side, palm facing down. Inhale, breath. Exhale as we rotate through, sliding just behind the wrist. Top of the tip of the shoulder should come down onto the floor. Head comes down as well to save the neck from straining. And nice deep breaths when we're down there. And then coming back up onto all fours again. We're going to take it then into our nice cat-cow stretches. So soften through the elbows, spread the fingers nice and wide. I want you to think about leading with the pelvis so we get the stretch into the lower back as well. So take an inhale breath. As we exhale, you want to put the tailbone between the legs, get that stretch into the lower back before we ripple up to the top of the spine. Push the floor away with the hands. Chin comes towards the chest. Think about creating space between all those vertebrae. And then again, leading with the pelvis. So untuck the tailbone, so pelvis leads. And start to arch through that lower spine. Take the gaze towards the end of the mat and gently squeeze those shoulder blades together. Keep those elbows nice and soft. Let's go again into our cat stretch. So again, pelvis leads, scoop the abdominals up, tuck the tailbone under, and then ripple up to the top of the spine. Hold it there. And then last cow stretch. So again, pelvis leads. Gentle squeeze of those shoulder blades. Take that gaze to the end of the mat. And then we're going to push up into a neutral spine. So think length, slight tuck of the tailbone and between the legs. Toes come underneath. Take an inhale breath as we exhale. We're going to hover the knees above the mat and gently push the weight back into the heels, keeping that nice bend in the knee. Push the head between the arms. Really feel the stretch down the lats into the calves. Have a little pedal here with the feet, if you like, just to ease those heels down. And then pushing both heels into the floor. Just gently start to walk the hands back towards the feet. So we've got all the weight on the feet, knees stay nice and soft, and just flop. Relaxing the arms, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing your jaw. Hold it there for a few seconds. Nice deep breaths. And then on this next exhale breath, again leading with the pelvis, so think about tucking the tailbone under as we start to peel the tummy away from the thighs. Start to tuck that tailbone between the legs as we start to just slowly roll back up. Nice and slowly, in your own time. Don't come up too fast. Whew. When we reach the top, nice big shoulder rolls, huge shoulder rolls. And then just slide the shoulders down the back